This violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello. Welcome back to the final episode ever of Blame Your Brother. There used to be 3 of us that came to you every week, and this week there are 3 of us that come to you. I am 1/3 of that trio. I am David, aka D. Brew, Glenn Jackson, Spiritual Midget, Mr. Wonderful, Mr. 40%, bunch of other names I've forgotten about. And this gentleman sitting to my left is my actual brother. It is Lee.
What up, everyone? It's the last of the Lost Boys, the one and only.
LeBron safety pin. That was our favorite one. And this dude sitting over to my right, it is John.
Hi, everybody, John here, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, the
They got John
madman.
Tortorella, a madman. They did. Okay, he's a madman.
There we go. John got an upgrade on his.
All right, good to see.
All right, 300. We are here to say goodbye. This is it, man. This is the end of everything. So, we're just going to talk a lot about the past. We'll maybe hit a few news stories because things were happening, man. Things were happening in the world, but they always are. They always will be until the AI Android chatbot takes over.
If they haven't already.
Lee, you know what I'm talking about. You've not read these stories about this chatbot, or what is it called? There's some chatbot that can write papers for kids.
Yeah, it's a thing for sure. GPT-3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's coming for us.
I haven't used it to write a paper, but I've used it to generate content before.
Scary AI Chat GPT could eliminate Google and take over the world within 2 years. I did add that last part, but that's not the point. Anyway. All right. Last week we played a lot of voicemails. Thank you. Lee probably did not listen, but Katie Quackenbush actually called into the program.
Of course she did.
What do you think about that?
Free as a bird, baby.
A lifelong dream came true. She actually called to the show. She left us some, said, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. So we did it. We did it, baby.
As a fan of the show, I'm so happy that she got off. But at the same time,
got off. She didn't get off. She was found guilty. She has to do probation.
Right, but she didn't have to
kill
serve
the
any
guy.
prison time.
She did not kill the man.
I said I was happy for her.
I mean, look, I've been team Katie Quackenbush from the start.
I know.
But anyway, okay. Well, let's talk about where we're at. The episode, the history of the show. We've had many friends, fans, listeners, trolls, you name it, they've all been there. Lee, do you want to get the story of why you quit the podcast? What is the true story of why you walked away? Everyone, when people came over, that was always the question.
That was the first
asked.
question.
You never addressed it. You never addressed it.
It was
we
did address it. I said it from my perspective.
What did you tell people when they asked us?
I said we had a disagreement. We had a blow off. We were set to interview an OnlyFans model. Tensions were high in the room. We get into fights like we always do it, and you said words were exchanged. I'm not downplaying what anybody said, and then you said I'm done. And I said, all right, then peace out, brother. And the show took a dive at that point. I mean, I think it's fair to say. It's not like
I'm the reason we're here. Episode 300.
I wonder about that. Would we have? I don't know, man. It's just getting to be a lot.
Okay, well, I mean, I can for me personally, and I
Yes.
feel like this is true of most people, maybe, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like I'm in a constant battle with 2 voices in my head.
All right.
One says that I'm a loser, that I'm not good for anything, I'm not capable of doing anything good, that the people I hang around, I just bring them down, and basically I just need to go out and be by myself. So the other voice in my head thinks that I'm awesome, that everything that I say people want to hear, everything I touch is magical and golden. So I don't know if you guys relate to that.
I definitely do.
The second one. I think me and John are in a perfect combination of those 2 voices as 2 separate people. I think that's why me and John work.
So and some people may call that bipolar. I don't know. I don't think I would take it that far, but
You've not been diagnosed.
I definitely don't think that I have a mental illness, but
Have
I
you
think
been
it depends upon
diagnosed?
which voice in my head at the time is saying
The
something.
question is simple. Have you been diagnosed as bipolar?
No.
Okay. Continue your story.
I've never gone to get a diagnosis.
Why not?
Nor do I think that I should. I think that it's fine. But, I go through seasons of my life imposter syndrome, whatever. So
We all have that. Okay.
you know, and there's a point in your life. I mean, so there's a point in the podcast when, you know, you kind of, when you're in a rut and you're in one of those situations where you feel nothing you do is good, you kind of need support from the community. You need support from your local community. You need support from the community at large. You need support from the co-host of the show.
All right.
And I wasn't getting that support from anyone. So it was very easy to fall into a pattern of just, you know, self-pity, not feeling that you're doing anything good enough. So, I mean, it's easy to look at a particular instance and say, oh, you know, we're interviewing this person, and it's, you know, but at the end of the day, it was kind of just the straw that broke the camel's back.
People,
I mean,
yes.
Here's the thing, but at the end of the day, people don't realize how difficult it is to do this show. Not only from a logistic standpoint of having to leave your home, which I'm not a big fan of, for you to drive over an hour to, if you're, you know, I was doing a large bit of the production, so setting it up, tearing down, preparing, and then having to deal with you, having to deal with John, that weighs down on a person.
Of course.
At the end of the day, when you don't get any support from your personal community, and you don't get any
Who is
support,
the personal community?
your friends, your family, the people you personally know.
They weren't supporting your endeavors.
No,
in
not
podcasting.
at the podcast level, but also
Say who it is, brother. Is anyone listening?
I'm not going to call any
Is
names.
is the caller in the room?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, not only personally. I mean, that's only one. Like, if you're getting support from the community at large, that makes up for it, right?
So if you would have had a group of people going, man, we love the podcast that you knew personally, and they're like, this is the greatest thing, because people would say that about the show. You got to understand, when you left, the show was in an all-time high. Now, I know you don't believe that, but it is true. The numbers were good, man. Like, people were talking about us in, like, not like all over town. They weren't talking about us, but people love the show. I mean,
I just want to say, like, there was people that did support the show, but I think your personal community has a greater effect
fair enough.
than maybe strangers on the internet. I think that's probably true for most people. So I don't want to discount the people who supported the show, because it was certainly there. And if we had 10,000 listeners, if we had 1 million listeners, would it have been easier to stay? Of course.
Okay.
But
So you just got burnt out.
sure.
I mean, is that easy? I mean, that's
I
probably.
should have just said that. You're right.
But I like the explanation behind it, because if you said burn out, then we'd say, well, we need bigger. The Kim Kardashian episode is the one where I had people literally that listened reached out and they said, what? And this I swear on my life, because I think it was an episode or two before the blow off happened. And people would go, is everything all right with Lee? Like, I had legitimate, like, multiple people after
What
that
did I
episode.
say?
Oh, the Kardashian episode to me is one of the benchmark episodes where you were just like angry about the Kardashians.
No, I
like,
still am angry about the Kardashians.
but this was rage on another. John,
I
you remember
feel
this,
rage
John?
in my
Yeah.
heart.
I thought it was going to end there that night.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable in the room, and I was just like,
And then like we went a few more weeks, and then it was almost like very anticlimactic how it left.
I've always had a
And
theory
then-
that we didn't want to really do the OnlyFans episode anyway. Like, I don't think anyone really wanted to do the interview.
No.
I don't know about that. I didn't
Okay,
care
well,
one
I'm
way or
speaking
the
for
other.
myself.
I wasn't on board for it.
John
but I
didn't
was
want
like-
to do it, and I was like, I don't know, like.
I have nothing against people that do OnlyFans, but here's the thing.
But I'm talking about the content of the show. I don't have a problem with them, but is that our show?
Let me go
Like,
back to the Kardashians, because I started with saying that there's an internal battle between kind of being low and being high.
Yeah.
Even when I'm high and I feel like everything is right in the world with me, right? I still feel like the worst about the Kardashians. And here's why: because I don't feel like people in Hollywood and those personalities who, and I use that term they, whoever it is, deserve to be on this pedestal. But when I'm flying high, I feel like people like we do, the common man, deserves a voice. And I don't feel like we were achieving that goal. So even when I was at the highest moment, I still felt bad.
walk
and
that-
even when I was at the lowest moment, I felt bad.
Walk
so at that
that
point,
back.
you have to
walk
walk away.
that back. Hold on, I want to hear what you just said. You said so.
I
you,
totally get what he's saying.
You didn't think
Yeah.
we were doing the common man, like you were Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair, pretty much. You were Dusty Rhodes, like it's a hard time, Daddy.
It's a
we gotta
hard
go
time
work a
out
job.
there. We got to go up against the Kardashians, y'all. We just ain't going to win this
When
one.
I was Ric Flair walking in, woo!
It's just really impossible.
Kardashian Island, baby.
It's really hard for me to understand why someone like the Kardashians is able to achieve the level of fame. that they have.
Attractiveness.
Well, that's one thing that we certainly lack. That is-
Welcome to reality, brother. It's all about the good-looking people of the world will always succeed. If you start a TikTok channel, brother, I've started one. I'm clawing my way up to the top. I see other people. I can see their page the day they started. It's a good-looking girl. I go, this girl will have 100,000 followers in a month. I guarantee you. Boom, every time. The average, a 5 on a 10 scale, whatever, maybe below, white man, gonna have to, and that's the white man clawing his way to the top. Don't even forget about people of color, people marginalized. They have to work 15 times harder. The Kardashians, they're good looking. Boom. That's it. That's a simple solution.
I mean, I hate to
Tell me I'm wrong.
So when you're in a world that only favors attractiveness and you're not attractive, that's a tough pill.
Don't you want to be around attractive people? Honestly. I mean, I walked into Walmart today. I know this is not a bit. I swear to God, it could be a bit. But I will walk into Target. I walk in that store and I go, I am the ugliest person that's ever walked on the face of the earth. I am a troll. I am a worm crawling around. I walk into Walmart and I'm like, my God, I'm the best looking man that's ever walked the face of the earth. Now, which store do you want to be in? And do not lie. Which one, John, would you want to be in every day if you had to be in it?
Target.
Thank you, Lee.
I don't.
The common
Walmart
man won't
is
say
not the
Walmart.
problem. But the attractiveness level is not the problem I have with Walmart. First off.
Okay, it's just an analogy. It wasn't.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and like I agree with what you're saying, but like at the end of the day, it's still tough, right?
to be, yes, plain and not a drop dead looking gorgeous person in the world. Sure. I mean, can you think of how your life would change instantly? Like,
but that's the point. I don't
and
know.
money,
Like you said,
and
all you want to
money.
do is hang around with attractive people, and like I think it's a
Well, I
situation
mean-
of ignorance is bliss. Because no, I would not.
I mean, that's DNA.
I would
though.
not
That's,
want to.
Well,
And I know you guys, and that's the other thing. I felt like the show was devolving into this, what is it? The Mount Rushmore of attractive. Let's do a top list of attractive people. And it's like,
John, are you going to push back on this?
We've never done that.
We did.
I
We
mean-
should have. I would do it right now. Bing.
well, I mean,
You didn't like
maybe
the
I was
pop
wrong.
culture content. I didn't really know where you want to take the show, truthfully. I mean, all this makes sense now. You're saying it, and this was a pushback we had. I wouldn't say pushback. This was a conversation we had all the time. I don't think we ever knew when we named the show. I didn't know what the show was supposed to be. Now that I'm at 300, hindsight 2020, I would definitely have called the show something else because the show became a view of the world. It was the news. It was like. It was a weekly news show.
So what would you call it? View of the world.
I don't know, something like that, but
.com.
something more like, we're talking politics, pop culture, something like that. Whereas, at the beginning, that was not my vision for the show.
What was your vision?
That's what.
What was your vision?
I think back to it. I was like a comedy. We were going to do comedy bits. We were going to call into places and do funny things like that. It was going to be more pop culture, less politics. And then it became more politics and less pop culture along the way. Definitely. I mean, which I liked. I mean, that's kind of, I've looked back and realized, I've always enjoyed talking about politics when people say politics, but we're talking really just about, things that shape the world, the decisions that the government officials and people make. I mean, if you call it politics, whatever. But I like talking about that, So,
Okay.
Sobros Network says, hell of a run, boys. Y'all's commitment to doing the show so consistently was damn sure inspiring to me. 300 episodes, not everyone gets there. Hope you're all proud of what you put into the world. Lee, are you proud of what you put into the world?
I mean, we could go back and look at highlights of the show and what episodes I thought were amazing and awesome. So overall, I think you could not with a straight face say that you're not proud of some of the things we accomplished. Absolutely, right?
What an answer. What are you not proud? Is there one moment you look back and go, not proud of that? I mean, there was never.
There was a lot that happened after the shows that
No,
I'm not proud
on
of.
this show, if they go on YouTube and just start surfing through the 200 plus episodes.
I would say there's definitely one defining moment where I felt like a complete idiot.
I think I know what he's talking
this
about.
is the, I'm
And
not
it was
gonna-
completely a
I'm not gonna
mistake
bring it
on
up.
my end.
How bad did you feel of that? And you knew it was coming, right?
My mind was in the right place, but I just couldn't. And so for people that are wondering, what happened is we had a Mount Rushmore of
African American,
African Americans, and I picked.
a white lady.
I was trying to say I can't even. I don't even want to say it again because I feel like I have like dyslexia in my
I've
head.
read about
it.
this woman so many times since you've talked about
Greta
her.
Thorpe, right?
Yeah.
Who was like a pioneer of electric guitar. She was like in church choir, like shredding electric guitar.
Moment.
But like an idiot, I said, who was it? Like John Carter Cash or something?
His wife, the mother.
I don't even know who
Which
it was.
is like the whitest person you could imagine, right?
It was somebody that was so white. Yeah,
so, I mean, that was
June
definitely
Carter's mother.
June Carter.
here's the best part. I never would have checked it. I swear on my life.
I know.
I would have let it go. John was like, hell.
It wasn't me.
hell
It
to the
was
no.
it was
That's
my nephew
John
online.
And then you checked it though. You're like,
Yeah.
let me look
I'm like,
at
wait
it.
a
And
minute.
then the flick. That's how stupid I
Well,
am.
no,
I would
no,
have been
no.
like, all right, well, I've just never heard this black
I would have
person.
felt worse if someone didn't. If we had just
Oh, that
all
would have
agreed
been
with
bad,
it,
right?
that would have been worse. And the fact that a viewer had to come in and say it
Yeah.
is a
That's-
testament to why we shouldn't do the show anymore.
I
Just
think
that very
I
moment.
think both me and David were like, we just kind of took your word for it, and then it was
I mean,
like,
'cause
oh wait a minute, the veil was lifted when someone else pointed
Yeah.
it out.
I mean, my head was in the right spot.
That's fine.
So what
Kind of
about
like
you?
an
What-
Emperor's New Clothes
What was
kind
your
of deal.
lowest moment?
My lowest moment, honestly, I mean, I try to be funny. I don't think I've ever really had a low moment on the show. I mean, I've stood by everything.
I mean,
Now,
what about early
I've
on
been-
in the episodes when you were
No,
on the
because-
Trump bandwagon?
Oh no, that
flying your flag.
That never happened.
Okay,
you
we'll
go
go pull
back.
the
You
tape.
find those episodes. I
Give
said
Trump a chance.
I said we got to give the man a chance. I gave him about
what
2
do you
weeks.
do? You think
and
we
then
should
I
give him a
said,
chance now?
"Hey, dude, go watch my TikTok. You
He's
tell
had
me.
his
You tell me.
chances.
I
That's what
read-
I'm saying.
You want to hear this great story?
Like you try to say like, blah blah blah.
no, I've evolved though. I
It's-
like that.
That's what I'm
The
saying. It's
evolution.
complete 360 for you.
I mean, you.
So
some
think
years-
about how you feel now, and think about how
Yeah.
you felt on episode
But
1,
that's
and
how
what
it
your
was.
political opinion was.
I'm not ashamed.
Was that you? But looking back on it, aren't you a little
No.
sad that you didn't
If I
jump
would-
on the bus sooner?
Yeah, probably that. But I never said anything. I mean, if I would have been on there being like, black people suck. I mean, somebody could pull this audio. It'd be the worst. Trans people are the worst. I've been steadfast. That's what I'm saying. You look back and go, oh, yeah, I think I was just saying I was a Republican because I've always been told I was Republican. I don't really agree with most of their, I would always make excuses like, well, I'm just a libertarian Republican. And it's like, bro, it's like,
Denial,
no.
denial,
It's like,
denial.
you're, because we had some spirited conversations about the trans community in like early episodes, I mean, it's been an evolution of me as a person. I can't really think of a moment.
I think the world has changed quite a bit since episode 1 as well.
Okay,
it
David's
seems
perfect.
like the Republican.
No, I just
that banner has changed.
is there anything I've ever said that I was like,
All right, we'll go to
"Ugh."
John.
I was
What
like,
about you, John?
I think I was so. I didn't really have a super low moment, but I hadn't had a super high moment either. So I mean,
put him in a fat suit. It's the ultimate. I mean, if I had to pick 2 of the greatest moments ever on the show, Lee's Mount Rushmore, it makes me laugh if I ever go back and watch it because it pops up on memory sometimes. It makes me crack up. And then John's put him in a fat suit or 2 of those. If you want what the show really was about, that's a sandwich of everything this show was about. I mean, then you could pick any random argument. Because, my brother-in-law used to text me after shows and he'd be like, is Lee serious? And then he would write back, is John serious? These dudes are serious with the things they're saying. I go, I don't know, man. I'm assuming they're being serious. I don't know.
Sometimes I would step back off my soapbox after the episode and be like, wow, I can't believe I said those things. Not because I didn't believe them, but it's just like uninspired. Like it's just me, like screaming into the void about stupid stuff.
But here's the thing. You have to be a little bit exaggerated to do a podcast. You can't just be on here being on, yeah, man, that's real cool. Sometimes
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't even exaggerating.
I'm like
by
you.
it.
Did I adopt some things where I was like Kardashian? Like, do I love the Kardashians? Do I watch the show? No, I really don't. But I had to. Once I started defending them, I had to defend them from there on out. Like, you can't back down.
you were in the paint.
Once you
had
take
to-
the opinion, you own it. It's just like, shoot, I don't even know if I like this opinion. But now I've got it. Not only do I have to defend it, I have to live it. I have to go, I'm changing my name legally. Like if this was a big time show, I might have changed my name legally to the David Kardashian. Oh, why did I never use that for an AKA? Oh!
So what about? I mean, you used to be all about Kanye too, all over the episode.
Well, we've talked about that over the last.
Oh,
couple
I'm
weeks.
sure you. I'm sure you did.
And I said when. Here's the moment I knew. When that dude came out and said slavery was a choice, end of the game. That was it right there. When that dude said that, it's a wrap, dude. Anything he has said
Maybe
after
he was
that,
talking about for the owners.
that's all right.
I mean, it makes sense
Mr.
now.
Okay.
And just let me say this with Kanye, and this is maybe a little controversial, But really,
That's our last episode. You
One
can go
thing-
ahead and go.
and like this is one of those soapbox moments that I just said you shouldn't have, but this is the stupid part for me,
There we go.
and why I had to quit the show is because I can't help myself.
Go
I
ahead.
can't help myself from doing this.
Go ahead.
The media is overinflating every little piece of news that comes out, and even though Kanye is off his rocker, they take it and they spin it so hard
Spin it.
that you don't know actually what's being said and
He
what's not being
said,
said.
"I like Hitler. I am a Nazi." Those
If
are
you-
he
yes,
didn't- he
yes,
didn't-
and people only read the headlines these days, and that's the
Oh, I
only
agree
thing
with
the
that.
media cares about is putting in the headline.
What
Kanye
sells the
West
paper,
said,
man.
"I like Nazis," but if you go and actually listen to what he says, what he said was horrible. But what he is actually saying is that we should love all people, and they don't ever print that, or that's the story that never comes up. That was kind of.
No,
and Kanye
brother,
is off his rocker,
no.
but
he's
that
been
is
saying anti-Semitic things, Lee. That's
yes,
not what he's
he is
saying.
sick in the head.
The context is not love the Nazis, man. No, at some point, look, I'm not a religious man. I'm not a Christian man. I don't have to subscribe to these things. I don't believe everyone's deserving of love. Okay, I believe when a person goes past a certain stage, that's done. You can't love a serial killer. You're going to let out and he's going, I'm just going to kill again. You're like, well, brother, we'll just love it out of you. Some people are deranged and they're sick and they're not, and I hate
And
to
I
say
think
that.
most people would agree with you, okay? And obviously, you don't even have to listen to Kanye. Just go look at that interview where he's wearing a
Oh,
mask.
that's the same one.
What was the show he was on?
That's InfoWars.
Alex
Yeah,
Jones,
InfoWars
yeah.
with Alex Jones.
Yeah,
wearing
that's
a
the
mask.
one where he
So,
said I'm a Nazi.
Obviously, yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to listen to the interview. You can just look at it and tell
Yes, it's
it's
bad.
completely off the rocker.
Lee, he
But-
has surrounded himself with white nationalists. These are the only
I know,
people he's
I know,
talking to.
I know.
He is in an echo chamber of nonsense. And like I said, the average person, you were talking about community earlier. This is true. The average person will be exposed to multiple people in a day, right? Like if you go to a job, just for instance, you will be exposed to multiple people that can at least, if you're saying anything, right? I mean, you'll hear something, at least you'll think, this guy is around no one. He's only around Milo Yiannopoulos,
Okay, let
Nick
me
Fuentes.
stop you there. I don't want to you've already talked about this.
Oh, I could talk
For
about
the past week. I know,
All right.
I'm sorry. Let me give you another example.
Okay.
And that's Donald Trump, like the past week, said, we should tear up the Constitution.
what he said.
And that's a direct quote, but that's not what his context was. And for me to say people
That
are
was
taking
what his
Trump
context
out
was.
of context is
bro.
bad.
No, that was his context. He said that since the election was not certified, that we have to suspend the Constitution. Now, he didn't say suspend the amendment of the Constitution. He said suspend the Constitution and we'll figure it out. Now, that is what we call in any circle of the world a dictatorship. Anybody that takes over a country goes, we're going to suspend all the rules and I'll just put the ones back in place. Brother, you got to
the
stop
point-
this.
look,
Your
look,
point,
look.
you've been hanging out with people that, no.
I'm picking these
are-
controversial figures. Let me
these-
back up.
These are people who are bad.
My point is the media is going to spin both sides
that's their
equally
job,
as
Lee.
well.
I mean, that's their
But
job.
people need to be aware of that. Like people want to say, look at Trump, look at Kanye. These people are evil. There's much more. There's something. There's a bigger problem. These people are just a symptom of it.
But they are the spokespeople for the symptoms. So you have to attack them. Trump had a national audience, Lee, every day in office on Twitter. He was spreading this hate.
I know,
He emboldened these people. This man should be behind bars at this point for tax evasion. His
Okay, we
entire
get it, we
charity
get it.
was
Let's-
found guilty of tax evasion. You know what they find?
it out of your
You know what
system.
they find these people?
Get it out of your
like
system.
a paltry $1,000,000-something, dude. The average Joe could probably pay that. That's in
All right,
Wall
who's
Street.
next? Who else do we need to go after?
He's the one. Dude, he had documents at Mar-a-Lago where these fools come in there every week, every day. It's dress up day at Mar-a-Lago. I don't understand what the hell's going on out there. He's got nuclear documents for other countries and their facilities at his house, which he intentionally
okay,
hid
stop.
for periods of time.
Okay,
if
calm
I
down,
did that, if I did that, I would be under the jail cell. John, if you did that, you might be executed for treason, honestly, if you want
Probably.
the truth.
Someone called the paramedics, but
All right.
not for me.
Anyways, Kanye.
Okay, what do you think about that
Trump.
woman that was playing Kissy Kissy in the cemetery? What was her name?
What are you talking about? Who is
The
it?
Nashville politician.
Oh, Megan Barry?
Yeah.
Look, man, here's what I got to say. Who you want to sleep with, that's your issue. Her problem, the only mistake she really look, you shouldn't cheat on your
Using
significant
government
other.
funds
I
to
get
do
you.
it.
But that's a moral thing. And we're kicking people out of office for moral clauses. It's going to be empty chambers. She took the dude to another country and he claimed overtime. That was their biggest mistake. If he wouldn't have done that, she still would have been mayor. Do I think she has a good soul? Yes. Did she block our show? Yes. Look, two things can be evident at once. I would love to talk with her one day, but that's not going to happen. But did she do a bad thing? Yes. Should she have been kicked out of office? Was Clinton kicked out of office for what he did? No. Then Megan Barry shouldn't have been kicked out of office.
Wasn't he impeached?
No, well, he was impeached, but he was never found guilty by the Senate. Just like
It's
Trump was
very
impeached
confusing.
twice. Anyway,
I guess it
all
doesn't really mean
So
much.
we've already gave our favorite guest. Who stands out as your favorite guest of all time that was on this podcast? Now we got J. Rob in the chat. He said, "Blame Your Brother, solid name." Why he thinks of his guest? It was a solid name, but it was also a name of a creative company in Canada. And I remember
always
going to
upsets
Lee
you.
day one. I was like, I don't know about this. Is a great name. People used to come up to me on the streets and go, "It's just the best name ever, dude. I love it." But maybe I would blame. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Who's your favorite guest?
Well, obviously, I have to say that Becky Warren is obviously going to make any top list of
Yeah,
mine.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
And I'm so inspired by her songwriting, and
Don't you want to list people in the chat? Right? Like, just play to the
I mean,
crowd.
I'm not going
brother.
to say J. Rob. J. Rob kind of scared me.
Sobros
J-Rob kinda
was a
scared-
guest.
J. Rob kind of scared me. Yeah, Sobros was
Stoney
cool.
Stoney was a
Yeah.
guest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Raquel Red. was a
John
good
and
guest.
Robin always talk about Raquel Red, man. That is like their go-to guest.
She was. I thought it was interesting because she was talking a lot of about stuff before this wave, because there was some back channel thing where like the conservative movement started attacking transgender people, but Raquel Red was kind of our guest before all that, and she was actually pointing out a lot of this stuff before
But
it
she's
ever
a
became an
she's a
issue.
big Trumper, though. You know that.
It's confusing, right?
It
Like the
is
whole topic is
very
confusing.
weird.
So
I don't know. It's weird. All right, so
But
Becky
obviously-
Warren.
yeah,
Obviously
like,
that's your
obviously
answer. I
that
didn't
was a
say
big
your
one.
favorite guest. I said your favorite guest. So Becky Warren. What was the most awkward moment ever? And don't say the guy doing the cocaine and all that.
I mean, is that
Not you
was
can't pick
kinda
a
weird.
24-hour stream.
why can we not pick
Were
a
there any
24-hour
moments?
stream?
Were there any guests where you're like, "Oh crap, dude, I'm in over my head"? Like when Bob Mueller walked down the steps, we were like, "Man, what are we doing here?" When the mayor walked down, where's the mayor? Like, I mean, were there any moments for either of you? I mean,
Obviously,
John,
you got
Lee-
a bunch of them.
I mean, I always you talk about imposter syndrome. I mean, I'm sitting there with freaking Bob Mueller going, "This guy's in a basement in like Nashville, just letting us interview him." It's kind of strange. I mean, it's like it was one of my favorite moments, but it was weird. You know, most of the time, and at the beginning stages, the guests were always like, "Oh crap," because it's like hard to be like your exaggerated self around a guest because they. You know, just even doing the intro became weird around people. I could do it around you guys all the time, but it's like just like hello, like calm down, bro. You know, so I don't know. That's how I always felt about it. But I thought, and I said this to John and other people, I always thought your interviewing skills were always an asset because you could just kind of go with it, and if I ran out of steam, you would just go somewhere I hadn't thought before. So it was always kind of easy.
Well, okay, I'll give you a story. This is a pretty good one. So we had the 3 comedians on the podcast.
Laura Peak, Mary Berger,
And
Mary
I-
Berger,
right.
Michael Wyman.
So I was, up until I left the show, I was pretty much always in charge of producing, technical production.
Mm-hmm.
So I had quite an impressive setup at my house with running all these wires through different devices and
crazy.
in the computer.
It's wild.
And some software update caused the channels, we had to have 5 microphones for that particular episode.
Yeah.
So there was something wrong with the software where only like 3 or 4 of the microphones really picked up. And I think so Laura Peak, I think, was the only one that really picked up on from the comedians in. And I felt so bad because there was nothing that we could do to go back
That
and
didn't
fix
come
it.
across on the episode, right?
Yeah, it did. But and like it's funny because I saw Mary J. Berger. They had the world record Nashville comedian shows at the Marathon building, and they do like a week long. So that was the first time I ever saw Mary J. Berger, and I thought she was so funny.
Yeah.
So I started following her, and just by random chance, she was on the show, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! I love Mary J. Berger." But actually, I went to her show once, and like after the show, I was trying to talk to her, and she was like I like asked her something, and she just turned around and like bit my head off.
Why?
Like, why are you asking? I can't go into
She didn't remember who
details.
you were?
I don't know, but she was
Is
just
this
pissed.
drunkly or soberly? So drunk.
I was at
Ray.
a comedy club.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, it felt kind of like after the fact, like, who cares? Who cares that the mics didn't pick up?
Laura Peak.
That's karma.
Well, Laura Peak, it's odd enough it picked her up because she is a freaking superstar right now. She is blowing up. I've
No,
told
I
you
know.
before, and I told you after that show, and I've told it to everyone I've ever talked to. She will be a recognized national act very soon. She's one of the funniest people that has ever been on the program. She was hilarious on that interview. And her digs at John, I was rolling. They were so subtle. They weren't even attacking John, but they were attacking his very nature as a human being. It was so great. It was cracking
And
me
John
up.
didn't even see
I mean,
it,
the
right?
mansplaining.
No, I went with it. It's a guess. You
It was
know.
mansplaining bit after mansplaining bit, and then it ended with this basically, well, John, if you don't like it, we'll all just burn all of our clothes and we'll just wear garbage bags the rest of our life. That line, I was dying. But it was weird, like, because these guests would come in and we're like squeezed up on them. I told it, Naja Sherman came over to John's house. It was the first interview we did without like you here. You weren't here. Your daughter had been born. Naja Sherman was in my lap practically. I mean, dude, I was like, what is happening right now? Her legs, I could feel them on my leg. I was like, I don't know what's happening right now.
We don't need to hear this story.
It was just weird, but they're not the only guests. Guests would get like close because you're all like squeezed in together, and you're just like, I'm just not that guy, bro. I'm like, give me 20 feet. Why don't you go in the other room and I'll stare at you from here and we can just do the interview that way.
But to go back to Laura Peak, that's what I'm saying. Like, if people go and listen to that episode, it's a poorly
I've listened.
technically
I don't think it
produced
is,
episode.
man. I don't think it is.
I don't know. Okay, anyway.
All right. So, anyways, okay. So,
We're talking about awkward moments.
oh yeah. So people never understand like that when the technical things go wrong, it is literally the worst thing that can never happen. Like it throws you off. You're not listening to what anyone's saying, especially when a guest comes in because you're really not listening. And the first couple of weeks where I was trying to run OBS by myself was a disaster, man. I mean, people don't understand, like, they definitely understand what you were doing, and they don't understand. I mean, that's why I have a lot of people going, it's very impressive you do that. And I'm like, I guess, but I guess after you do it a while, it's not that difficult. It's like anything, you know, but yeah, technical mishaps were always the worst. And they seem, I don't know, it's just like I always said, I love that we did the video because all the episodes will be up forever. Because, I mean, the podcast episodes are going to go away. I'm not paying the storage forever, but the podcast episodes will always be here. I mean, unless YouTube goes under, and that would be with that AI chat.
The AI chat says it's going to be taken
It
over.
might just make better episodes of the podcast for us. So, let's talk about the dynamics here. Now, Lee and John, I've always thought you guys were friends. Do you guys consider yourselves friends? I mean, honestly, this is a real
Childhood
question.
friends, of
I
course.
know. I mean, honestly, do you consider yourself friends? Yes or no?
I mean, we don't hang out now, but that's nothing. And maybe John has been selling you in your ear. I think people have
No, I'm
different.
asking you first.
So
Do you
here's-
consider
yes,
John a
here's the-
friend?
well, let me explain.
Okay.
I am a naturally lone wolf, which is odd because I'm this, and people say this all the time, and it's infuriating because it doesn't make sense. But I'm an extrovert introvert, so I draw energy from other people, but I would prefer to be at home alone. And it's a really weird space to be in. Maybe it's that bipolar. Maybe I do need to go get diagnosed here. So, like, if I do have friends, I usually have like one good friend.
I'm the
And
same
that's it.
way.
And that's the only person
No.
that I really hang out with.
I hear you in that.
So, you know, me and John, we grew up together. We had a lot of fun, but yeah, we don't hang out now, but that doesn't mean that I consider John a friend, of course.
But what do you consider a friend?
I mean, that's like a lot. How do you answer that? What do you consider a friend?
But I want John to answer that. But
Well,
it's so
obviously.
funny you say that because we've never talked about that before. But I will find that the strongest friends I have are generally the people I work with, who I sit next to. I'll go to lunch with them every day. Usually, if something happens, I go out with them. I got like Jeff, Mike, Clay. You know, it's like whoever I'm working with, I'm like the closest to. You know, like, and I definitely get energy off of people. I love now as I've gotten just older. I love to be holding court at a table of like 15 people. It like energizes me. For people are like, are you like, what are you on, dude? Like, are you on coke or
I
something?
could see that.
And
The Coke part.
but I like you. I want to be left alone when I want to be left alone. It's like, please get away from me.
You
Like,
need to go find 14 other people to
You
get
know?
around a table if
Yeah.
you want to speak to me right
so
now.
you saying that, I've never heard anybody say it, but I feel the same way. I'm definitely an extrovert, but I have moments where I'm an introvert as well. And I don't know if that's the way we grew up. I'm starting to think it is. I think it starts explaining our dad a little bit more, I think, because I think he was definitely like that, but maybe, yeah, I don't know. I think he was probably just like that now that I'm saying it. But anyway, All right.
I can be the same way. If I'm not like entertaining,
Mm-hmm.
then just let me be.
So, do you consider Lee your friend?
A lot of it comes down to how you define friendship. I think.
What's a
I
friendship?
will take that as a no. Because I said yes.
I think-
and that's okay. You don't have to say yes, John.
well, I mean, if you're talking about somebody that you would go to bat for no matter what, and you feel the same that they would do the same for you, then definitely 100% Lee is my friend. But if you're talking about just being around and you're 99% of the time you're having fun, that's not always the case.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll be honest. One thing that really bothered me, it still bothers me to this day, is I was never invited to Lee's wedding.
Oh boy!
It's all coming out, I
Oh,
guess.
it's coming up on
And
300, brother.
That
that
always
defines the true friendship. I
that
guess.
kind of it hurt a little bit, and so that
I
always
like the
bothered me.
honesty. I mean, I like the honesty.
But if there was like, I knew if I needed something and that Lee could do something about it, then I could call him and he would be there.
What do you have to say? That is like this guy just put some
I
stuff out
know,
there
it's
that's like
heavy.
real shit, man.
And
I
it's
mean,
nothing I don't deserve. I don't even remember if I made the wedding list. We had a very small wedding. We had to be very particular. And I guess you didn't make the cut, man. Sorry. But if it matters to you, I don't hang out with any of those other people that were at my wedding now.
Brandon.
So
He hangs out with me occasionally. Brandon occasionally.
I don't really have any friends right now. So I guess I would say no.
What is that? How is that meant? That cannot be a good mental space for you.
Da 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 da. Hey, thanks for pointing it out.
I think it also, like you mentioned, people at work being
Mhm.
close to you, and the fact that Lee doesn't really go into an office might contribute to that quite a bit. Because I get the energy. I just started a new job, and like, there's one guy. Every joke I tell,
Mm-hmm.
he's just rolling,
Yeah.
and like, I love this guy.
Those people are the best.
And I was like, I even told him, I was like, man, if I ever did like a walk on set at Zany's, I want you to be in the crowd.
You're in the front row.
He said, if you do a set at Zany, I want to be at the crowd. So it works.
I don't think I've told you. I went to the Smashing Pumpkins Jane's Addiction show. I haven't told you this. I ran into two gentlemen. Their names were Chris and Lance. I think you may know them.
Oh, yeah.
Ran into them. They were
Yeah.
like, David Brewington or something. I was like, hey. And it was
I constantly think about contacting them.
why not? They asked, what's up with you? And I said, you know Lee.
It's
I
Sitting
said,
in the
you know Lee.
basement, sitting in the basement, feeling sorry for myself, I guess.
Well,
I
reach
don't know.
out to them, man.
I
think
should. I
think they
should.
miss you, man.
Chris Crockett is definitely one of the coolest people I know. Like one of the best bands ever. He's probably the person that's made me laugh the hardest. He really, really helped me out when I was at a very low part of my life. And of course, Lance was a solid friend. for
Lance
years.
was your best friend.
For a very long time.
Yes.
Right.
What's up, bro? It just
Yeah,
fades.
It's just I'm truly, at the end of the day, I'm lazy and I could not drive to Murfreesboro on a regular basis. Right? So
I don't know. You got texts. You can call.
yeah, I'm just not into that. But okay, let me ask you a question though.
All
Would
right.
you take a bullet for John?
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
I mean, yeah.
Like the bodyguard. And
I mean, I would think if we were out and somebody pulled a gun and John was unaware that they were shooting at him, I mean, I would like to think I would. Now, once again,
okay.
Unless
that's
you're
fine.
in a certain position, you,
say
don't know what
say
you're
anything
gonna do.
you want, right?
John,
I mean,
would you take a bullet for David?
I think that having a gun pulled on me before, I think I can, with an assurity, say that I would.
Okay.
would you?
Would you take a bullet for
Oh
me?
yeah, for sure.
Would you take a bullet
Yes,
for
I
me?
would.
I wouldn't take a bullet for either.
Wow.
Sorry. So maybe I'm not John's friend.
Well, let me tell you something. About that, I really nothing about that. That's
I would probably throw you in front of John
well, there you
if
go.
that
Well, thank you.
matters.
At least, hey, there you go.
If I had to pick one of
So
you.
here's what's crazy. When this show
to throw in
started,
front of
when
me?
this show started, you guys were not fathers. I did not have a daughter, and over the course of the show, you two became fathers, and that's kind of wild to think about, really, if you think about it. And we all had daughters too, which is even more bizarre if you really think about it. I mean, over the course of 6 years, you became a dad. You became a dad twice. You know, you have two kids, and then had a daughter. I've heard people say that having a daughter changes your entire world. Now, I say testament to that. If you met me, like you said, 6 years ago to now, I wouldn't even know that dude. Like you said, the evolution. Do you think you've changed having a daughter, Lee?
I mean, having kids, if it's a daughter or not, absolutely, for most people, I would say, changes your physical lifestyle. So I don't see how it couldn't change you.
Well,
as
I'm
a
talking
person.
about spiritually.
Just from, I'm just saying it's all connected, right? So,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yes.
do I feel like having a daughter has changed me spiritually in the way that you're talking about?
Yeah.
No,
Huh.
I do
John.
not believe
Okay,
that.
John.
I think fundamentally it does, just because of the way you view the world and relationship. Like they say, like when you have a kid, that you should crawl around your house before you bring the kid home, so you can see what they see,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you should like baby-proof your house. And I think that when you have a daughter, you start viewing, especially as a man having a daughter, you know what your intentions were growing up. You know what your thought processes were, and you're forced to think, okay, there's going to be people out there that view my daughter that way, and you literally have to change in order to protect them in that way.
I think the problem with me is I already knew that, and
It's different from knowing something and then actually being in it.
I don't know. I think maybe you two guys didn't realize it on the level I did, but anyway.
I've just always been one that just floats with the ether of the universe. You know, I mean, honestly, I look back at just often not having a plan is always the plan. And what Robin says, Asher was born when the show started.
Yeah, right. It was neck and neck.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that. Then you already were a dad. Lee, you became a dad only.
Right.
So there you go. But I don't know. I just people have said that before, and I've always been curious about it. Just if it softened you up a little bit, but you're saying no. So
I'm saying no. I mean, but I would say it's the typical response that, I mean, it definitely changes
I mean,
you.
if you add water to granite, it's still not going to get any
that's
softer.
true.
I mean, I'm
I used to say that.
hard as a rock, baby.
I used to say it about Corey, my brother-in-law. I was like, he was like, man, you cry like every movie. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm gonna give you a movie. If you watch this movie, you don't cry. I mean, you're just dead inside, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Dear Zachary.
Yes,
was
that's the
documentary.
movie.
I want Lee to watch this documentary.
No,
and-
why would I want to watch something that would make
well,
me
because
cry
you may not
like
cry.
that?
What's the
Why
last
would-
movie? What's the last movie you cried at?
I've cried at movies.
Name the movie.
I can't remember. It wasn't even that long
Exactly.
ago.
Exactly.
I would probably
My point.
cry at Dear Zachary. I mean,
Oh, how-
I don't even know what it's about, but if it's causing everyone else to cry, sure. but
I've cried at Bluey often.
that's what
frequently
I'm
in the last
saying.
few
I've not
weeks.
ever. I've cried in pain at having to
Oh,
watch
Bluey's
Bluey.
the best. Don't you dare.
I'm not saying it's
Don't
a bad
you
show.
come on this show.
But the third or fourth time you're looping
No,
it.
I've watched them thousands. I can watch it over and it is the best kids show ever. Fact. And anyone can prove it wrong, come at me. I dare you. I've talked to other parents. We all agree. We've all agreed on this. What are you watching?
On TV?
When your daughter is in the room, you got to watch some TV.
Oh, it's whatever. Right now we're watching Christmas stuff and
No, but what's her go-to?
cartoons.
What's her
Disney
go-to?
Channel, whatever.
Bluey.
Disney She loves Bluey.
All
Yes,
right,
she will watch
perfect.
Bluey
There you
on
go.
repeat.
All right, perfect. All right, so what do you see in the future creatively? Are you doing anything creatively?
So, I mean, when I left the podcast, I definitely had a lot of intentions about writing an album. I was working on an art book. And it's interesting because I'll never forget we had, oh man, what was the girl's name that did the book and the song, the album?
Oh, Georgia English.
Georgia English. I remember watching that episode and she said something that just stays with me about how she had a problem, like marrying capitalistic success with art, in particular how she released her album. And
Mhm.
she knew it wasn't going to be a commercial success, but to her, that's not really how success, I mean, she didn't say this exactly, but the way I took it was that, that's not how you should
yeah.
measure commercial success. And that's kind of messed with me in a lot of ways, honestly, because
But why should it free you? I mean, it messed with you?
but yeah, but that's what it is freeing. But anytime you go through a transformation, you have to sacrifice and give something else up, right? So if your bedrock is this capitalistic nature of where you measure success by, like the Kardashians, the number of units moved, it can be difficult to know that you're not going to do that. And even though your soul says that the art is justified, if nobody else cares, it's a tough pill to swallow, right? So
That's true.
with these projects, I'm kind of going through that now. Like when, and the other problem is, like, if you don't have closure on your projects, they stick around. You're in a forever edit mode, right? It's kind of like the podcast. You're just going through the motions. Like, you should end it, but we're going to do episode 600 just because
Yeah,
we've
no,
always
that's true.
done it. So by bringing closure, to me, it's exciting because it allows you to start new stuff. It allows you to put those projects aside, say they're finalized, and move on. But the problem I'm having right now is trying to find that moment to close them and call it
Close
finished.
it.
So
Just
when
do it.
But when I
man.
talk about album, most people would say, hey, I wrote an album. They'd be like, oh, where is it on Spotify? And for me, I'd have to go, no, it's never been recorded. It's in my heart. And people just look at you like you're an idiot. But
like,
that's how I feel.
I literally just rolled my eyes at people.
That's what I'm saying. But so, yeah, when you get that reaction from everyone,
That's not.
maybe
brother,
you're the weirdo.
No, that's like me going, I've written a great novel, and you're like, where can I read it? Well, I haven't put it pen to paper. I mean, you haven't really written it. The art.
No, but
of,
if I could play the album to you note for note live, would that not be the same thing
Then-
as writing the album?
well, if you've played it that much, sure. Like if I could recite an entire novel to you, my
Okay.
question would be, why have you not recorded it in any manner whatsoever?
Because-
even on your
because here's-
phone. On
Because here's the
notes.
thing. If I did record and release an album, it would get nobody would listen to it.
Who
hardly.
cares? I would listen to
And
it.
so that's the point. It's like railing against the system and saying, I am proud of what I did, and I don't have to release
Brother, why
this
are you
product.
making art for that reason? You make it for yourself,
Brother,
man.
I'm in the base. I told you I have no friends. I'm in my basement by myself. I'm making it for myself.
Josh Baker was coming to me. I've become kind of friends with Josh Baker, who's guest on the show, probably the most that's ever been here. And he would come to me and go, I'm thinking about making this song. I don't know. Should I do this? I go, Josh, just put the freaking songs out. Stop it. Should I do 2 or 3? Just do 2. He goes, I don't know if I'm going to do 3. Then just do 2. What are you doing this for? I love your shit. I want to hear it. Who cares? Other people will like it. You think what? You're going to be the Beatles and a million people? No, who cares? If one person hears it and it's one person is their favorite song, then you have done more than most people will ever do in this universe with art. It's true. Most people don't create it because of what you're saying. Who cares? If you love it, that's more than enough.
Well, that's what I
Make
was going to say. Like, why does it have to be one person?
it. Well, it can be yourself. You're one person.
What if you don't even?
I mean, you think anyone knows Sourpuss the band? I
Oh,
do.
yeah, for
I mean, they
sure.
want to, but no, but like me and you and like 100 people, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, not a lot. One of the greatest bands I've ever seen in my life. I will have that memory. Split 11. Ran into the guitar player just a couple weeks ago. Weird moment. I was like, dude, I love you guys so much. I could go through your song catalog. You can't even find that media in the world, so it does live in my head. Make the art. Put it out there. Record it. Just do the damn thing.
I will say with Josh, it's funny because it comes full circle. It's like I asked him for tips to play the bass or whatever, and he said, just do it. So that's basically what you were selling him, and now he's
Yeah.
telling other people, but
There you
it's
go.
like he doesn't even know it himself. It's hard.
Well, it's hard.
It's
when
hard.
It's hard giving yourself advice. John, what do you see yourself? Anything creative happening?
After I get my braces off, I'd like to record some stuff, but
All right.
there's some things vocally I feel like I can't do fully with them on, so
All right.
that's
Right.
my biggest hang up right now. But there's some stuff that we did as a band that I wanted to rework and kind of do a solo version of. There's some covers I've wanted to do. I've mentioned Red Red Wine plenty of times on the podcast before that I've always wanted to do a cover of it. And there's some other songs out there like that.
I think you both should come out and say, here are the timetable. I'm putting this out into the world. You don't have to tell people, but I tell yourself, I'm going to put this out by this date to yourself and then do it.
Well, honestly, I wasn't even finished with my endeavors because what I was ultimately going to say, with every ending is a new beginning, and I know we had talked about plans for the 300th episode,
Yeah.
but I think that we three should form an acoustic band and work up a set, the three of us. I mean, it's not like it would be the first time we did it, but
I mean, I don't have any problems.
I'd
with
be
that.
game.
No, they
There you
were all
go.
just like, okay. I liked songwriting when I was doing it.
and the name of the band has to be Blame Your Brother or
yeah,
Blame Your Brother 2,
there you go.
like the classic SNL episode.
Third best. Oh,
Pearl Jam 2.
Projo 2 is good. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about doing some different stuff. I mean, I don't know. I thought about that. I've been podcasting for 15 years. That is 1/3 of my life. Like, really think about that, brother. 1/3 of my life I've been on this microphone. I'm ready to just take a break for a while.
Well, listen, here's what we can do. Every Thursday at 8 o'clock, we can stream from my basement. I have a piano, I have an upright bass, I have guitars, You know,
I
have
don't
a
know about every
cajon.
Thursday. We can do it.
We
like,
stream the practices live. It's like a new
Ooh,
form of
that would-
podcasting. It's like an entertainment art going places that's never been gone.
How
before.
long, John, before we broke up? Over under 6 months.
Ooh, that'd be real close to that.
So, what'd you say?
quit?
6 months.
Who quits? Who quits?
No, Lee, definitely.
Now, you two musically, like I know me and him podcastically, I don't know that's a word, but I just made it one. You two musically had your moments. I mean, you definitely there was some tension in the band room often. Do you think that would resurface?
I mean, as long
I
as you
think
guys,
I'm pretty much pretty laid back now. As long as it's like he's not wanting to put like crazy lyrics that are like way like against fundamentally what I feel, then I think I'd be
so yes.
What does that mean though? Like what break that down. That is interesting what you just said.
like if he's like I got this new song, it's called Jesus Sucks, you know. I'm probably
So you won't even explore the idea that he could frame that in a way where it makes you just like the average person question just the air of religion. I mean, like if the whole song is Jesus, I mean,
that's what I mean.
but
if it, I mean, it,
what if it's about the image that Christians put into the world of Jesus? That sucks. That's not actually who the real Jesus is.
No, I'd be okay with that. But I'm saying like fundamentally, the meaning of his song is obviously something that I can't get behind and fundamentally against.
So if he said the Mormon religion can go to hell, you'd be like, nah, I can't get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would make a perfect pop punk song, but
That
I think
would
I'm a
be
little
pretty-
too old to be doing pop punk, honestly.
You know, you're never too old.
But anyway, I think it would go fine as long as y'all guys listened to everything I said and did whatever I wanted unquestionably.
I, at this point, brother, I mean, you're joking, but I'm cool. I don't really have any musical aspirations anymore. Like, I would just be good sitting in the corner, go ding, 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 ding. Like, you know, you realize where you're at. You're going to be with music at some point, and I kind of got to where I was at, and I'm comfortable with that. But you know, it is what it is. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. I wouldn't mind doing that.
So outside of that, what are your? You said you're taking a long
have none,
podcast
brother.
hiatus.
Just
I know
enjoying.
you've been putting out like microcasts.
I've been doing the TikTok. I'm almost up to 50,000 followers. There's some days where it's easier than others. Like I made a video just before I came out. I uploaded it. I left. I come back. 25,000 views, just like
what
that.
was it about?
It was about Brittany Griner being exchanged for the Russian prison and how Fox News is outraged by that. And I'm like, well, we know why they're outraged, because it's a black lesbian. If it had been Tom Brady being exchanged for it, they wouldn't have said a damn word about it. They couldn't tell you this is not what I said. This is what the context of what I said on the video. But they don't care about anything on that. You're talking about news. That channel is a detriment to society. Like
Fox News?
Yes, it should be eradicated. I mean, and then I don't, I'm for free speech. So when I say
Sort of.
eradicated, I mean, I wish people would just stop paying attention. I don't say the government comes in and shuts it down. I just wish people would stop watching it. But obviously people love to hate watch and they love to get outraged, obviously, over.
Well, I mean,
whatever.
they would say the same thing about MSNBC.
Right, of course they would. But is MSNBC putting a platform up where they're going, we're taking your rights away, your rights, this marriage is not allowed, this is not allowed. See, I
think in some ways they are. I think it's like we can all say at this table Fox News is ultimately evil, and we would have a hard time disagreeing with that.
right.
But we have to understand the evil is on the
Where
other
is
side of the
evil?
pendulum.
Where is it?
It's just like saying communism is bad. Well, yeah, but so is capitalism.
Capitalism
You know,
is bad.
We have
though.
to understand that what we need is a metered middle ground. We need moderation, even in like true moderation is bad because we need moderation and moderation.
Brother, you got one network putting forth white nationalism replacement theories. Like you can't compare that to the other side. I keep saying, people are like they're both candidates are bad. Well, I mean, define bad. I mean,
I think there are some equally destructive behaviors on the other side of the aisle if you start going deep into like the anarchist or the radical BLM protesters.
Wow, BLM protesters. I mean,
I said radical
okay,
ones.
well,
Okay.
well, I mean, yes, I watch MS. I watch them all actually, and I do enjoy watching. MSNBC is like my comfort channel. Like I just
And
want
people there's
chill
people
and
that feel
relax.
the same way about Fox
But
News.
I do watch them and do realize this is a little bit crazy. This is a little bit over the top. It's hilarious. I think it's funny, but it is too much. Like I would never go to it for like I need an actual news source. They're like, no, they attack Trump all the time, and I love it. I'm like, yeah, let me write some down. These zingers
Well, that's
are
how
pretty
people
good.
feel about Fox News.
No, but see, they don't. See, that's the difference. I think the average viewer that watches MSNBC is educated. The average viewers of Fox, if you found a poll, they probably would be uneducated voters.
That's fine. We all can't be
so-
I
educated.
think
Well, we should be.
Fox News is a lot like when David was talking about having to pretend to be behind the Kardashians because he
Mhm.
was supporting that point somewhere. I think the Republican Party as a whole has become this thing where we've believed up into 80% of these things, and now this 20% of stuff has been comped on top of that. Now we have to believe that too, and we have to defend it tooth and nail, or all of it's wrong.
Yeah, but I
don't know. I mean, I don't agree with
what
it. But
point is your soul's worth something, right? I mean, your soul has value, like more so than that was my point in the video I made today. This guy was saying, I don't think that's a very good trade. And I said, what's a human life worth to you? I mean, like, is what Brittany Griner's not worth another human soul to you? Like, where's the drop off? This is ridiculous. I mean, every human life, essentially, to some degree, is worth the same. I don't. Lee just wrote something down, but let's start wrapping up because it's almost end time. But I do want to say that John has said you remind him of Matt Walsh. Any comments on that?
I mean, obviously not. But because in what way?
not in his views.
Just
Obviously,
end it with an argument. Let's go.
Just the way he carries it, he's got a deadpan humor, a lot like yours, and his delivery and how he talks is a lot like yours.
Jesus.
He's got his own show, so
Well, thanks for
at
that,
some
John.
level he has to be
I would
entertaining.
be.
What friend wouldn't compare them? their
I
friend
would
to Matt
flip
Walsh?
this table when he would bring up Matt Walsh all the time. Now I feel John was in his best intentions, and I said, John, you cannot be watching this guy. He's really bad. And John would go, what do you mean? I go, he's very bad. He's transphobic. He's a bit of a racist. He's at the Daily Wire, so that should tell you something.
Misogynistic.
Yeah, he's very bad. He wants women to be wed at 13 years old and have kids at 14 because that's their role in the universe. And then he would say, he reminds me of Lee. And I was like, I want you to say that to Lee when we see him. I go, because I don't know what you're talking about, man. I go,
Well, I just saw a news headline today because that's all I read is the headlines, and it said conservatives are making Nashville the new Hollywood, and I hate it because it's true.
it is true.
And I love the city. I was born and raised here, and I would hate to leave it. But man, how can I?
Can I flip it though? Because I saw a TikTok about
Yeah.
this. It was very interesting. They said Nashville has marketed itself as a place where red people can come visit, and they take all of the red people's money and then they pass the most progressive policies in Nashville that you could play. So it's kind of robbing from the enemy to pay for the people. I mean, think about it. Nashville is a very progressive city with all of their.
compared to the rest of Tennessee,
Right, you know,
absolutely.
I mean,
Compared to the
compared
rest
to
of the United States, Maybe.
they're up there. So it's kind of fun. I mean, that's the only way to put a good spin on it.
and also I just want to say, like, TikTok is a horrible platform. What are you doing on that?
It's
just
so
like a-
funny how things come full circle.
It's just like a Chinese.
Because when TikTok
spyware.
first came out, Lee was like,
I
"You
know.
gotta check out TikTok. It's the next thing,"
was an
and he
idiot.
was right.
Yeah,
But-
he was right.
But now he's just like totally like bashing it. It's just
Okay.
so funny.
I mean, Facebook is spyware.
For America.
Google spyware. I mean, it's all
For
spyware. But
America.
here's the thing: TikTok is catered to what you want, right? Like my wife watches Reels. She doesn't do TikTok, but she watches Instagram Reels. She goes, "Have you heard of this thing, this challenge?" I'm like, honey, me and you are on different algorithms. So I'll tell you two stories real quick as we start checking. See, technical mishaps right here. So I was at a Subway close to where I work, downtown Nashville. I walk in, and I don't know this guy. I just know this guy from going to Subway. And he looks at me and he goes, "You're on TikTok, aren't you?" And I went, "Oh God." I went,
No, and you were hooked from that moment.
I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Man, I see you on there clowning on Trump all the time, dude. I love your videos." And then weeks later, I'm in the bathroom, and this guy that I know from the bill. I don't really I know him, who he is, and he goes, and he just says offhand, this is when I started a new position, so I didn't know what he meant. He goes, "You're in my algorithm." And I was like, huh? I thought he meant like I was on a different.
He was hitting on you.
No,
It works with you somehow.
Somehow my work now was he was seeing my name on his permits he approves or whatever the heck, whatever. I went, now that he goes, no, dude, your TikTok videos keep popping up. They're all in my algorithm, and so I was like, oh, okay.
Influencer, D-Brew, the
So,
influencer.
It's weird, but anyway. But is it? Yes, I understand there's security compromises with it, but I love it.
For someone that hates AI chatbots, they're all up in you. And Glenda, I love you.
All right. So, any final words as we're done? What did you honestly? This is the moment of truth. We'll start with John. What did you get anything out of this podcast?
Oh, I got time to spend with my friends. That's the most.
That's the most.
Yeah.
Lee,
John always said that. He was always like, I just want to spend time with you. I don't care what you guys were doing Thursday nights. I would be there, which I don't necessarily believe, but most everything I would say.
Right.
John,
I mean, we've been through 2 bands and a podcast together.
I never felt just so that I did not feel that way personally, but I don't know. What did I get out of this podcast? Less money.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Less time.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to be a TikTok influencer out of it, you know?
You probably could, but so you gain nothing from this, the experiences, the 24-hour streams, the
I mean, that was fun. Yeah, I mean, it was fun.
You know,
it was fun. In
outlook on
hindsight,
life.
it was all just a blessing.
Well, there you go. We had people show up. You know, some of our good fans. Doug, Thursdays are gonna be so dang boring. We're gonna miss you. So I appreciate everyone. Glenda was here. Stoney, Robin, obviously. J. Rob, Lynn, Glenda, and some other people. The people watch and they don't comment. They tell me. But anyway, I guess this is I don't know, man. I don't really know how to. I've never closed out a 300 episodes. I don't really know what to say. I mean, we're just done with this. I don't know what that just said.
The Pope. He pulled a Sinead O'Connor.
Is that a picture of the Pope? I was about to say, is that a picture of the Pope? Well, guys, we're going to close down. I mean, I'm not going to close down the social media sites, but if you want to reach out to us, I don't know. I ever check them, truthfully. So you know how to find us, I would say. I don't think anyone is like really gives a crap. So thank you so much. I will say this sincere. Thank you so much for everyone that listened, that engaged with us, for every guest we ever had, for every person we considered a friend. Thank you so much for making these 6 years just really incredible time. When you go back and look at it, it's just an amazing journey we were on. We did some great things. Like I said, we did 2 24-hour streams. We helped charity. We met some of the great natural people. We're in the same room with them, and it's just kind of a surreal experience to think about it. Now we're here wrapping it up. So, you know, I'll say John, but Lee's back
here.
with us.
Let's
Lee,
Don't
there
blame
anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.
So you could have said, is there anything else? You said, no, it's over. There's nothing else.
Tune in next week
Go home.
for more episodes.
I was thinking-
Blame your brother.
We're like, and then we stop and go, just kidding. Episode 301 next week. But actually,
Follow me on TikTok.
Actually, no.
D-Brew rocks.
No, it's badly brewed. But don't follow me. All right, I got nothing else.
Should we trash the set like we used to do in the band?
Your house.
Your computer.
Hey, Bailey, if you still listen, we'd like to know who you were, Pizza Dad. Thank you for the memories. Peace out.